And recording.
Hi.
Hey, how you doing?
Happy hump day. Happy hump day. Happy last light of the menorah day. Hey, hey, hey. What's up?
Hi.
How are you?
Okay. I'm okay, girl. Just here drinking tea in my Christmas mug.
In your Christmas mug. How nice.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm here.
Got it for us.
I'm in my holiday sweater. I mean, this is the only holiday, non-holiday specific sweater I could find. I don't know if it's like...
It's so good.
It's a wintry. Again, I think I've mentioned this several times. I'm a huge Simpsons fan. Seasons 4 through until 11, to be exact.
Wow.
Even that's... But, yeah, Mr. Plow. I don't know if you guys know, but...
What's the song again? How does the song go? Like the Mr. Plow song? It's so good.
Oh my... I'm not singing. I've already embarrassed myself enough. Call me again. It's Mr. Plow. I should turn Mrs. Plow and put some hair on Homer.
Ooh, I like it. Put some red black braids on Homer.
Remix. Welcome to a refined voyage with Kaila and Michelle. This is episode 11. 11, which means we only have one more episode left of season 1. How amazing is that? We started recording this in June? July?
Yeah, when it was warm outside. That's all I remember. I just remember not having to wear tons and tons of layers.
And yet here we are with Christmas mugs and Simpsons holiday sweaters. That's hard to say. Simpsons holiday sweaters. Simpsons. Yeah, there we go. That's tough. That's a tough one. Yeah, tell me. Nothing? Nothing to update on?
Nothing.
No?
Absolutely nothing.
The one really trying, as you know, we've been trying to coordinate a time where I can be outside to record this. But if anyone knows anything about Ireland, the weather is quickly ever changing. So today I am going to a Christmas market. Oh my goodness, I'm excited. Although I'm trying to hold my expectations to something, or manage my expectations rather. But it is stormy here. I don't know if you can tell. I mean, right now it looks a little clear. A little clear, but it's not. It's stormy. So I couldn't be outside. So here we are in my room again.
Hey.
I apologize.
Don't.
But maybe I can record a video and then you can put it somewhere.
Yeah, we can give that a try.
Video of the Christmas market. I don't know.
Yeah.
If anybody's interested in seeing the Christmas market. Gonna sound... Pardon?
Place a video on Instagram.
Yeah, we could do that. If anybody, it's so stereotypical. I'm going to a Christmas market at the Guinness Storehouse. So where they brew Guinness and sell Guinness. And yeah, there's a free Christmas market to promote local businesses. And yeah, that's where I'll be this after we record this. So maybe I'll take a little video and post it on our Instagram, which you can find at A Refined Voyage on Insta.
Yep.
And Kim has been doing a bomb diggity job of taking the reins the past few weeks. Hopefully this week as well.
No, I'm just
so thank you. Yeah. So here at A Refined Voyage, if you are somehow only tuning into episode 11 and not the previous 10 episodes, we're 2 Black women from Canada who love to travel and have traveled and are well-traveled and like to talk about traveling and air grievances and just chat about travel. How many countries have you been to, Kaila? Come on, surprise everyone.
Man, I think it's 23, 22, 21. I don't remember, but I think my number, I need to actually sit down and write them all down.
There's a really good app for that.
What?
There's a really good app for that.
Oh, is it?
It just lists all 195 countries and then you just tick which ones Yeah, I'll have to send it to you. I'll definitely have to send it to you.
Okay.
So I have as we speak on travel, I have a question, as I do every week.
Okay.
Actually, first, before I even say that, I have to shout out a friend of mine, Alex, who has recently gotten into our podcast. And just as my mom said, he told me that I talk too much and that I speak way more than Kaila. So I apologize, but I'm going to continue talking a lot
Good.
because that's here.
I love when you speak a lot.
Sorry, not sorry. Anyhow, I have a question for you. So I feel like both of us, we spoke about it, I think last week or the week before. One of the major things that we do when we travel is we base our travel around food. So one of the things that we love to do is eat. We know. Yeah, exactly. But what are some other things that you love to do when you travel that has now changed because of the pandemic? So maybe it's changed temporarily, maybe it's changed permanently. Like, what are a few things?
I think like one of the things I really like are group, anything that has to do with a group. I can sometimes be bougie and be like, I just want a private tour. But sometimes I find that when you're doing any kind of group tours, whether it's being on a catamaran, dancing and drinking, meeting new friends, or like on a food tour or whatever the case may be, I love those. Like I said, except for when I'm being stush. But otherwise, like, I think that's changed since the pandemic because I don't know, although you're probably wearing a mask, like, I don't know how many people would feel comfortable doing group tours and how many companies are actually offering group tours. So I have no idea, but I think that's one thing I'm going to miss since the pandemic or yeah. What about you?
Wow, sorry, I just want to touch, like, I didn't even think about that. Like, you think about, I know that in New Zealand and in Australia, the, like, tours are really popular where you just, like, buy a tour with a company and then you're with this group of random people for, like, 10 of days going from city to city, and, like, how that's changed now. No, like, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah,
I don't know. Comfortable.
exactly. So I guess it's based on how comfortable you may be, like whether you're
Right.
okay with being in a group of people and whether, but most likely people will be wearing masks, but then there's also people that might not. So it really depends on the strictness of the tour operator, how comfortable you are being around people during this time. So I have a feeling that many companies may have lost quite a bit of money. Well, I mean, the whole tourism industry has lost money, but I think especially people that maybe offer group tours are just like struggling right now.
Absolutely. That's awful. I hadn't thought about that. That's a good point. Well, to follow up your amazing point with, like, a weird point, one of the amazing things and what I love to do when I travel is I love to go to the cinema. I also love to see Broadway shows or off-Broadway shows. So I love cinema and I love theater. And what I love about it is that the experience is just so different depending on where you go. I mean, the language might be different, the style of, the cinema might be different. What I think it's amazing to watch certain films, being somewhere where the film was produced or is about, and then, you go in and you watch it. Or there's no better feeling than seeing a play, seeing some theater that hasn't blown up yet, before, that hipster thing, like, oh, I watched it before it became,
Yeah.
I saw Hamilton before no, I didn't see Hamilton before. But just like that. And I know that at least out here, specifically in Ireland, in Europe rather, one of the biggest cinema chains is now filing for bankruptcy and is obsolete. And that's just due to not being able to have any blockbusters. And actually, it's not hilarious, but it's a fact that James Bond was supposed to come out at the end of the year. And once they changed that, and once they canceled that, opening, that's why this particular theater or cinema brand chain went bankrupt. So it's kind of insane because maybe it's a temporary thing, but like, I don't know. To me, I love film and I love cinema, and I think there's no better feeling than seeing a film in the cinema, depending on the film. Like, I'm a sucker for Tom Cruise. I know, unpopular opinion, right? But like a Mission Impossible film,
Right.
you can't do that at home.
No, you can't.
You need to IMAX.
Absolutely.
You need to really see those stunts he's weirdly doing by himself. Why, Tom Cruise? Why? You are rich.
Ah!
It's 2020. We can get a stunt double that probably looks more like you than you look like you.
Yeah.
You don't do this, Tom, but he does.
Yeah, I think
yeah.
the thing about cinemas though that have changed. I had this discussion with my friend John, and he was mentioning how essentially before Toronto was on super lockdown, where like they shut down everything, cinemas were one of the things that could be open, but they were restricting the amount of people that were able to go inside a cinema. So, for example, they were allowing like every other row or every, I don't know how many seats, but for example, he said he'd go see a movie and there'd be 6 people in the theater. So I think it's a bit weird that they were allowing, especially in Toronto or like some places where the cinemas are completely shut down, that have large spaces, but certain restaurants are still allowing people to eat. So it's a really like thin line between what is actually happening and like what are the rules and what are the benefits, like why are you choosing to allow some not companies, but you know, certain things like movie theaters, or whether it's a large grocery store chain, you know what I mean, like what. So I think theaters, I personally believe that theaters are something that should have remained open, and it, because no cases were actually linked in Canada to theaters. Like there were no COVID cases linked to theaters. So who made this decision? Anyways.
I think it just has to do with, I mean, just thinking about why they would do it. It's just like the cinema's kind of if you think about it, cinemas are actually quite disgusting.
Oh yes.
Like, I've no disrespect. I've never worked at a cinema. I'm an avid cinema goer. But if you think about it, you sit in the same position, in the same seat for 2 hours, and then you probably have like, what, a 10-minute turnaround, depending on the cinema, to clean the cinema. And like, we've seen the cleaners. They just kind of like sweep the popcorn. They don't spray the seats or anything.
Right.
I don't know, maybe it's just like a breeding ground. But like you said, there have been no cases in Toronto. We can't speak to anywhere else.
Right.
No case to it. It is a bigger space. I don't know, restaurants are allowed to be open, but I guess that the idea of the restaurant is that it's constantly being cleaned, like dishes, and I don't know. I'm just trying to find the logic in it all, but everything is illogical, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a little bit weird right now.
One of the other things that I love to do is go to concerts and go to shows, gigs. And one of the amazing things, and kind of bureaucratic, shitty things at the same time, about living in Europe, actually, we'll speak to Toronto first. So you know this. Yeah. Growing up in Toronto, like 90s, early 2000s, we didn't get any concerts. We got no shows. If we did, it was like a huge show and it was impossible to get a ticket, and the ticket prices, to be honest, are still ridiculously expensive.
Right.
It's just because, for example, in the UK, they literally will not pay for ridiculous ticket prices. Like, they won't.
Right.
It's a whole thing. You know, when Cousin Drew was out there and they were charging, £80, they're like, we are definitely not paying £80. They had to like slash the price. Whereas in Toronto, we pay for anything because it's like, back then, we get what we can kind of thing, right? But so that happens in different cities in Europe. So living in Amsterdam, I got to see a lot of inexpensive, great shows in small venues in Amsterdam, but also one of the most, sought out cities in the Netherlands and in Europe. So a lot of the time, some concerts or shows were really expensive. And so, if I wanted to see a show, I'd be like, oh, okay. For example, I'd be like, City in Color is coming. I want to see City in Color. I happen to be in Ireland. Again, same thing like Amsterdam, big city, big venue, tickets are super expensive, can't afford it. Okay, cool. He's playing in Berlin. The tickets are only €30.
Right.
All right, I'm gonna hop on a flight. The flight's only €15 round trip. I'll go for 2 days and come back. Or sometimes it wouldn't even be 2 days. It would be like I literally leave in the morning, I watch the show, hang out, and then leave the next morning. So it's just kind of like a binge sesh. You just stay up and you have fun. And that's definitely gonna change because we got to quarantine and I assume that there will be a choice between the vaccine and quarantining. Yeah. So if you don't have the vaccine, you're going to have to quarantine either when you get there, when you get back. So, am I really going to, give up 2 weeks of my life to watch a show?
I think.
Do I even going to the venue?
Right. And you mentioned about vaccines. That's going to be another topic that maybe we'll discuss in another episode. But my gosh, is there ever some pushback with this vaccine? But I don't want to talk about that right now because that's a little controversial. But should we vaccine or do we just quarantine? And will countries allow you to travel without a vaccine? But like I said, we'll talk about that next episode or something. Yeah.
Interesting topic.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah. Let's not talk. I think it'll be when we come back in season 2 and see how things have settled.
Right.
Or whatever. So I think I'm just gonna say, I think that I'm not gonna say good thing, but one of the pros about potentially having a vaccine is that those at risk would be able, if they wanted to, would be able to get this vaccine. Therefore, things might turn to semi-normal. Right? Who knows? Anyhow, question for you.
Okay.
Have you ever never have I ever, no, I'm kidding.
Okay.
Have you ever taken a trip for the new year? Like to celebrate the new year and be like, woo, good riddance 2020?
The answer is no, I haven't.
How do you feel?
Sorry?
How do you feel about the new year?
The new year, I think when I was younger, I really enjoyed it. And I was like, I'm going to make my New Year's resolutions. Life's going to be great. And blah, blah, blah. But now I'm just like, okay, cool. It's just another day. So I don't boost the new year like I used to. If my bedtime's 10:30, I'm going to go to bed at 10:30. That's just who I've become. But if my girls were like, let's go take a trip for New Year's, I'd be like, I'm down. But anytime someone's like, let's take a trip, I'm like, I'm down. I would love, okay, cool. I want to tell you this. One of the coolest things I've ever seen in my life, and this is not regarding to our New Year, Chinese New Year. I was traveling during Chinese New Year, and one of the coolest things I've ever seen was fireworks from the sky. So how we usually see them while we're on the ground and we look up? I was in the airplane and I was looking down at fireworks.
Oh, yeah.
Coolest experiences. And I was like, am I in a dream?
So you spent the Chinese New Year in the air.
Yeah.
There has to be some sort of Chinese proverb for that.
I don't know.
If you're in the air, you're gonna travel for the rest of the year. I don't know, something like that.
No, that was a good year though. That was a really good year.
Oh, good. I've done go to New York for New Year's. Oh, yeah. However, One of my best friends, Elena, shout out to her, is from New York. And at the time, my flatmate, who is also one of my best friends, Kylie, shout out to her, um, we were all kind of having this weird year. And it was the first time in my life at that time that I had the holidays off because I usually always worked. And Kylie had some time off, and Elena happened to be alone over the holidays. So I said, you know what, I'm going to go to New York. So I was there over Christmas, and then I happened to be there over New Year. And when I think back about it now, it was probably one of the best holidays I've ever had, holiday seasons I've ever had, because it was Christmas in New York. It was literally everything that you see in media about Christmas in New York, I saw. Like, I went to Rockefeller Center, but it was like the cool version because I didn't do the whole Times Square thing. No way. There was no way I was gonna do that. But what I did get to do is hang out with friends, and we went to, I believe we went to a house party in every borough.
Nice.
Is Staten Island a borough? We didn't go to Staten Island. That's too far. But like, that's just so cool to say that I did that. Like, going to a house party in Brooklyn, and then, hanging out in the Bronx, and being in Queens, being in Manhattan, and just like taking the train at 6:00 in the morning to go home on New Year's Day. I don't know, it was cool. But that whole holiday season was really cool.
Yeah.
Like, seeing Rockefeller Center, seeing the tree, going ice skating, like, it was dope. So that's what I did. And as in several times before, 2019 was the worst year of my life. Was it 2018 going into 2019? Yeah, 2018 going into 2019, I think. My mom was in Europe. Was it? Yeah, I guess so. My mom was in Europe, and unfortunately my dad fell ill. So we were traveling, and then my dad fell ill, so obviously we had to go home. And so we had to find a flight on we're trying to find a flight on New Year's Eve to get to, and there were no flights. So we were in Amsterdam. I was based out of Stockholm at that time, and we're trying to find a flight in Germany, Belgium, and wherever, just to get one of us home. And the only flight that we could find was back in Stockholm. So we ended up spending New Year's Eve driving 22 hours nonstop from Amsterdam to Stockholm. And I will say, like, it was very interesting, and it was very stressful, of course. But one of the cool things that happened is at the strike of midnight, we happened to be so there's a bridge that connects Denmark to Sweden, and we happened to be on that bridge. And so in the rear view, you could see all of the fireworks, and then ahead of us, you can see all the fireworks. So that was kind of cool.
Nice. That is nice.
Despite the circumstances. Yeah. And then, yeah, we were on a plane for the rest of it. But yeah, that's about it. Yeah, it was all right. I was with my mom.
Exactly.
It was all right.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. So this year, are you guys doing anything?
I highly doubt it. I don't think we're doing special. We'll probably just celebrate me, Brendan, Jameson, pop a bottle of bubbly, get a little
Bubbly. Little pop. Little bubbly.
Get a little
Bubbly.
down tonight. Just kidding. Just kidding. This is a PG.
As she sips her tea, she's like, that's funny. I'm not doing anything either. My lovely flatmates and I have decided that we are going to have a strong drink. It's actually quite funny because last year, over New Year's Eve, I was actually in the apartment that I live in now with my flatties. They're my friends. And we celebrated, and we're like, yeah, 2020 is gonna be good. 2019 was the worst year of my life. So I'm like, 2020. So it's hilarious that I'm gonna be here, but now living here. So I don't think we're gonna do anything. We are gonna have a stiff drink, and I have an outfit, and it's full of sequins, and I'm gonna wear that in my house.
I love it.
Drink.
You take pictures and then post it to Instagram, and then
maybe
private.
We'll see. I'm trying to. I have a weird thing with the internet. I think post episode 12, post season 1, I might take a little break from the internet.
Okay, that's okay.
I might disappear for a bit and then come back for season 2.
I've done it.
But yeah, so maybe we'll see. But yeah, I have an outfit, and I'm gonna be embarrassing myself in front of my flatties, which is fine. They've seen where it's okay.
Fine.
That sounds, but it's inevitable when you live with someone, right?
Yep.
Anyway,
That's
I'm
fine.
gonna leave now because I'm going to a Christmas market and I'm gonna take videos, and you're gonna post it on our Instagram, or I will. Better. Yeah. So thank you guys for listening, watching. Thank you for your constructive criticisms, those that are welcome and those that are unwelcome. I'm going to continue speaking a lot. Sorry.
Oh.
We love doing this. We have a lot of fun.
You do.
And we'll see you next week for our last episode.
Love it. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Hey, friends. Jameson and I would like to say thank you for tuning into another episode of Refine a Voyage. If you like what you heard and you like what you saw, go ahead and click on that subscribe. And please click on that like button. It helps with the YouTube algorithm. Until next time, peace. Say bye. Oh.